Gacha games, you've heard of them? They are hero collectors type of mobile game where you go and you collect some heroes, each one of them have a special rarity, and your job is to get as many as you can, like the hoarder you are. Often paired with an actual gameplay mechanic and also a story to fluff it out, but essentially, they're games that masquerade as cutesy fun stuff when in fact they are gambling addiction incarnate. So I decided in the past couple of weeks/months to try as many as I could in the shortest amount of time without getting too addicted to them in the process. And it turns out that I've tried several, so many, like hundreds or so. And this is my list of the 15 one I think are worth trying out. So if you're looking for a brand new game and you are into anime gacha types, this list is for you. Just to be fair, this is not sponsored. At one point in life, one of these games sponsored me, but I have no contract with them whatsoever anymore. I'm a free bird. Now, in terms of the games themselves, I'll be reviewing 4 major aspects of them. First of all, gameplay. Is it fun to play? Because the game is actually the biggest part of it. Summoning is just a tiny fraction of it. Number 2, is it free-to-play friendly? So if you don't put any money of your actual hard-earned cash in it, can you still have a good experience with the game? C, is it good looking? Because visually being appealing is also a charm. And D, lastly, is it resource intensive? Is it going to drain your battery? Is it going to take a lot of room in your phone or your tablet? All these things kind of matter. So these are going to be the main aspect I'm going to cover. And finally, I will be only talking about games that have a global launch, ergo an English translation. Because as much as Grand Blue Fantasy and World Flippers are hype, most people don't read Japanese, and that kind of hinder the process of playing a game. So enough of the preamble, let's get on with it. Number 15, Fate Grand Order. How dare you, Misty? I'll have you know Fate is the greatest mobile gacha game ever made. Look, it's not for me. I tried it a bunch of times and it just doesn't work. I recognize the appeal and maybe the late game gameplay gets different, but the battle system is such a snore. It's a glorified rock, paper, scissors combo card games. It's not really free to play friendly. I spent 5 hours doing the story just to get enough for a 10 pull and just ended up giving up on it halfway through. 10 pull is a gacha term, is when you do summoning with the currency, you can do either single summon or 10 pull, which is a bundle of 10, and usually comes with a boon like a special rare guaranteed in the lot. It's often better to just do the 10 pull rather than single one. Anyway, Fate Grand Order is a stingy prick, and if you're free to play, it's not much of a collector game, cause you can't afford any to begin with. Enjoy your 3 stars, you're gonna have them for a while. Resource-wise, it's not too taxing. The game is held together by a bunch of JPEGs and duct tape. Gameplay is a bit brain dead for me. You can idle all of it at any point, but I know why people like it so much. It's cause they're too invested in it at this point. It's too hard to back out. So what about Magia Record? Why is it paired with this list? Well, it's a double entry because Magia Record is just a reskin of Fate Go flavored a la Madoka Magica. In both cases, I don't really like the game, but it made the list, so get off my dick. I'm a married man, okay? Number 14, Azure Lane. Girls as Battleship. Very free-to-play friendly, but dear lord is it overwhelming when you start this game. The gameplay isn't bad, it's a bullet hell type of gameplay, but you can also just kind of turn your brain off to it, soak in the bullets, and just go through it if you have the right stats and the levels going in the mission. My issue with it is the giant amount of tutorial the game dunks on you at the beginning, where a lot of things aren't really clear. Also, just like Fate Go, I got in this game kind of late, and at that point, there was just too many characters. Most feel quite generic. None of them feel canon. That's a ship joke. Overall, it's a bit chaotic. It's the kind of game, the more you play, the more you understand. Unfortunately, the gameplay is a bit too idle for my taste. The summoning system is also kind of boring. I like flashy rainbow proc, like feeling you got an actual rare unit. This is the best part of the game, and if your gameplay just kind of is okay-ish along with it, it feels more like a chore getting a new unit. Also, summoning something and having to wait for it is kind of a major boner kill. Number 13, Honkai Impact 3rd, the only game on this list I once got sponsored to talk about. Again, for full disclosure, they have no tie on this video, so I can be candid as much as I want. What are they gonna do, not sponsor me anymore? Rant aside, the game's appeal is mainly on the gameplay side rather than the summoning one. The story is interesting enough, characters are really charming, and the anime spin-off, Cooking with Valkyrie, is absolutely adorable. The summons, Misty! What about the summons? They're kind of bland. Not really free-to-play friendly, but that probably stems from the fact that there's like 6 characters. Each of them have like special outfits or like different stands you can pull, but essentially it's still the same characters. The battle system makes most of it. It's a combo-intensive game with another rock, paper, scissors synergy. I don't really have a problem with this game. It's just a time restraint thing that I cannot sink more time into. Number 12, Sinnoh Alice. Sinnoh Alice is a brand new game that came out and it really caught my eyes in the visual department. It has a very eerie vibe of gothic Victorian times with puppets, Lolita designs. The gameplay involves very little. It's another power creep type where the more you level up your character, the more brain dead it becomes. But it's got that Victorian flavor to it. It's as good as any other title. The summon mechanic is not bad. It's pretty accessible. But instead of summoning for heroes in this game, you pull for weapons. Each weapon has its own rarity and effect, but I don't know, it doesn't have the same feel as getting a brand new character. Overall, I give it a C+. C for Kino Alice. I'd play it more if I was into that type of art, or if I wasn't actively running a bunch of other games as well. Number 11, Girls Frontline, the counterpart of Azure Lane. Some people will say they're completely different, and gameplay-wise, you're right. They're nothing alike. But Azure Lane is like a bullet hell type of game, and Girls Frontline is more the tactical tug-of-war type, where you build squadrons of waifus, each representing a gun type, as opposed to Azure Lane's ship type, and you're dropped on a map with nodes to capture. I really like this one because the girls are appealing and the tactical aspect is more involving, but when all that is done, I realize that I'm just not that much of a gun nut for it to appeal to me enough that I want to sink hundreds of hours in it. Pretty cute, seeing a bunch of chibi running at the enemies is kind of endearing, I'll admit. No 3D assets though, it's all sprites and some intensive life 2D, which are rather neat and gives the game a lot of charm. Number 10, Langrisser and Fire Emblem Heroes. This is a dual spot entry because honestly you can pick any of them and they all play the same way, kind of. They're both tactical JRPG, and if you've seen or played Fire Emblem's game, Heroes is a very dumbed down version of it. And since I've played Fire Emblem 3 Houses for like a playthrough and a half, I feel like I'm qualified enough to talk about it. Out of both, Fire Emblem is also the least likely to get shut down at any point, but I found Langrisser to be much more enjoyable. It had more charisma and flair. The only downside of it is how stingy they are with summoning currency. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't hinder the game in any way. Langrisser is very free-to-play friendly, but has someone who likes to summon a lot to get that sweet hit of serotonin. It's a bit underwhelming in that department. If you just want a safe bet, just go with Fire Emblem Heroes. Number 9, another Eden. From the makers of Chrono Trigger, need I say more? This game, as far as I'm concerned, should be exclusively free-to-play. Summons are there as a pure luxury, the basic characters are canon to the story, and the story is really good. Like, again, Chrono Trigger, the best JRPG on Super NES. Yeah, fight me with your Super Mario RPG, Earthbound, and Secrets of Mana bullshit. I'll take you on. Another Eden has nothing but commendations from everyone who tries it. It's a great experience if you're looking for a charming story with no stakes where you will not feel left behind because whales just ruined the game. Number 8, Destiny Child. Let me go back to my serotonin analogy. If you don't know much about brain chemistry, serotonin and dopamine are the chemical that makes your brain happy and make you feel good, like getting your letter of acceptance into Hogwarts, or having your crush say they like you back, or getting that 6-star rarity double rainbow. So good. That's just a natural drug your body produces. So what does that have to do with Destiny Child? Well, for the better part of a few months, Destiny Child was my pusher of serotonin. They give you tons of summons. Every character is a stunning live 2D of incredible quality. Every unit has an additional color palette. The game overflows of charm. The main character, a bit of a dunce, but he grows on you. And the gameplay requires enough of timing and diligence where it matters whether or not you pay attention to what's going on. Of course, you can always power grind through it all and end up autoing most stages regardless, but there's enough game mode that the variety is kind of endless. By the time you end up running out of stamina, you'll have an actual child of your own going to college. It's an absolute sleeper of a game. I just cannot fathom how I never see anyone talk about it, especially when it's that good. Number 7, Symphogear DX and King's Raid. I don't know why I'm putting Symphogear here, considering it just got shut down this morning, but for posterity's sake, if anything, it made me interested in the Symphogear franchise, which is already pretty niche, so I don't know what they were expecting with a global launch. But I played this game free to play exclusively, and it was rather generous. Similar to Honkai Impact, there's about 8 characters in the game, but every new event they had new outfits and new attacks. It's a card collecting con game, but there was literally zero gameplay involved. You pop the mission, and there's nothing to do. You just watch it unfold. I'm guessing the lackluster gameplay kind of was its downfall, so instead check out King's Raid at number 7. The game is really charming, but just like Sinnoh Alice, instead of summoning new units, you summon weapons, and you can get new unit by boosting your relationship with them at the inn. I don't remember what appealed to me in King's Raid. Must have been something important.
Woohoo! Here comes the Archmage!
Yeah, that was it. Number 6, Pokemon Masters. When this game came out last year, it was an absolute mess. But then they started fixing things and adding new features, and now it's a great game. It's actually because of this game that I started diving more into other gacha games. Alright, bit of flexing time. I got every unit up to Turtwig and Dawn maxed out, unlocked, and full gear. That's it. That's my flex. I got material for days. Initially, the gameplay is incredible. It's a 3v3 PvE battle where you take out your enemy's opponent using... Well, you've played Pokemon. Except this one is a bit dumbed down in its simplicity. Like, for example, normally Onix is weak to steel, water, grass, etc. In this game, every Pokemon has only one weakness. No immunity, there's no resistance. Anyway, I got Red and his Charizard maxed out, and it just breaks the game. Like, everything dies. It's not even fun anymore. There should be a 1-year anniversary coming up real soon, which I assume they're gonna toss Red back in the mix. So yeah, I recommend it. I just have over 500 hours in that game, so I like to think I'm pretty good at it. Number 5, Exos Heroes. I was really impressed with this one. The quality is purely astonishing. By far the most beautiful game I've seen. From character design to animation to environment, everything is stunning. The summons are fun and fairly generous when you start at least, and the story is captivating with enough content to keep you going for a while. Gameplay wise, it's your turn-based JRPG style where you make a party of 5, 3 vanguards, 2 back row, and you take on waves of enemies. I guess it's okay. Every unit has its own set of abilities and animation, and super move, and there's a lot of events. It's all around a really solid game with side quests, mini games, and what have you. I have Zero complaints about the game. Except maybe it's pretty resource intensive, the battery drained fast, and booting the game alone is just gonna take a while, so go get yourself a coffee or whatever it is you drink. A good price to pay considering the quality it has, honestly. Number 4! Dragalia Lost, the other Nintendo title that I think is worth gushing about, a game that I've initially played quite a lot of, and that now, because I play just too many gacha games, I just log in, collect the rewards, and do a bunch of summons every now and again. Essentially, it's a story-intensive game about an adventurer and dragons. Very cute, dynamic gameplay where you actually have to move on the battlefield and attack and use your abilities, kind of like Honkai Impact, except much more kawaii. If you want the best gameplay experience, this is probably as top as it gets, in my opinion. Also, the soundtrack is an absolute bop. Listen to this tune. The game is super generous with free-to-play currency. Like, I log in once a month and there's a bunch of summons waiting for me to do. And then I just go back to play number 3. Save me, please. Number 3, Tales of Christoria. All things considered, this game should not be on this list. Not even at top 15, okay? But it is, for one reason, and one reason only. It's because it's our sponsor of the... No, I wish they would sponsor me again. No, Christoria is a brand new title heavily focused on storytelling. Like, for real, the best part of the game is the story. If you're a skip autoplay type, you're probably gonna miss out on a lot on this one. With tons of voice line for all of your favorite characters, from Crest to Velvet, including this awful choice of a line for Lloyd when he gets hit. Why? The game launched a week ago, and it's full of bugs. Nothing game breakings, but stuff like this monstrosity. Also, I've never seen a battery drain faster than someone running this game on low setting. But despite all that, the game reeks of charm and nostalgia from their original game. Summons are super satisfying, and the game itself is very free-to-play friendly. You get a ton of gems by just doing the story and the missions alone, until eventually you cleared everything and you just run out, and then you just have to go. The gameplay is varied enough that so far I feel like there was never any downtime between getting power-ups, story, raids, events, and arena battle. Might get old eventually, but I'm still in the honeymoon phase and it's all I've played the last week. I've already clocked 100 hours. Please send help. Or more SSR, because I really need those right now. Number 2, 7 Deadly Sins, Grand Cross. How? How is this game so crisp, so good, so perfect? So polished, so fun, so free to play. How do they still manage to make money out of it? Oh, okay, that's how. I've been playing this title since it came out months ago. Didn't put a single penny in, and yet my roster is full of SSR. Sure, it's never the ones you're hoping to get. Gimme Tiki. But this game is super generous. When it's not handling out rare material dailies, they just give you straight up currency for summoning. There's a guaranteed SSR ticket every week just for you to log in the game. The story is the entire anime reanimated in full 3D. It's beautiful, unless you hate CGI, in which case, how do you sleep at night? The battle is also super good. It's a card game where each unit in your party has 3 possible type of cards, and you have to pair them together to get stronger. It's brainy enough that you get to think your options, and it's one of my favorite battle mechanics on mobile. Even if you've never cared for the anime itself, I think it's still super worth picking it up. Also, every ultimate attack is fucking gorgeous. Alright, I'll stop gushing. We're not even at number 1 yet. And now, before we get to the number 1 spot, here's a bunch of honorable mentions that I think are good-ish, but weren't good enough to make it in top 15 without pissing off everyone and myself as well. So nobody's gonna be happy here, trust me. One of them, Love Live School Idol Project, All-Stars. Picture DDR for your fingers. I guess a better comparison would be Osu. Either way, it's a rhythm game, and it's incredibly well made with super catchy music and everything. I just suck at rhythm game. Like, seriously, I stop blinking and my eyes start hurting. So I don't play like Guitar Hero, DDR, none of that shit for me. That's a problem. But if you like good music and rhythm games and cute girls, it's absolutely a good recommendation. One Piece, Treasure Cruise, Sword Art Online, Memory Defrag, Naruto, One Punch Man, Bleach. They're all flavored according to their respective universe, but they look and feel cheap. One Piece and SAO being on the higher end of the spectrum, while Naruto and One Punch Man are just like, well, truthfully inexcusable. Unbalanced, broken, not fun, and simply just doesn't look at all good. I'm putting them here just to give my opinion on them, because if you're a diehard fan, you probably care about that, but I don't know, don't bother. Dragon Ball Z Dokkan, or Dragon Ball Z Legends, the only one that actually has somewhat of an appeal and polish. I didn't play it much because the battle style wasn't really appealing to me, and I'm just not that much into Dragon Ball, but if you have one anime franchise you're itching to get, go for the Dragon Ball one. They actually have a decent player base, and the game offers a lot of variety. Go for Dokkan if you want more content and PvE, but go for Legends if you like PvP. Which, I don't know why people like PvP, because it really makes me anxious for some reason. Shin Megami Tensei Liberation DX2. If you enjoy the world of Shin Megami Tensei, it's as close to a personal mobile game as you'll ever see. I didn't really have any complaint about the game. I played it for a couple of hours, but it didn't hook me enough to just go back to it. So the game just stayed there until I needed more room on my phone to download another garbage game that didn't make the list. Round Dust, which has been renamed as Brave 9, I believe. Kind of the same deal as Liberation. Not a bad game, just didn't hook me personally. I think it's fine, but there's too many units that I legit just find unappealing. I hate having characters in my party that doesn't have bouncy boobs. I'm not proud of it. I understand it's a problem as a pervert, but that's how I play my gacha game. The battle system is a bit on the tactical side. You need to wage your formation and take out the other enemy teams. I think it's fine. It's just not for me. And the last honorable mention is Epic 7. And this one is, I think, is kind of good-ish. It's really not for me. Everything's too slow-paced, the wave of enemies are slow, the tavern sucks, the menu management, maintenance is cluttered, it just doesn't work for my kind of playstyle. Like Exos Heroes and Tales of Crestoria, it's a turn-based RPG where you have your party attack, then it's the enemy turn. And finally, the number 1 spot belongs to, not surprisingly, Arknights. This game does everything right. Arknight is a tower defense hero collector gacha game that is very free-to-play friendly, surprisingly, and is currently in its 6 months anniversary period. I mean, it's free-to-play friendly as in they don't offer a lot of currency, but you still can manage without. This game is all about composition. It's not a game where you can build one strong party member and just cruise with it. Unless it's Silver Ash. You gotta level up a team equally and tackle each mission as a group, and while getting a 6-star is the hypest I've got in playing mobile games, you realize they're kind of just quality, easy way of life gets. Like, you can do every mission with default 3 stars and 4 stars unit with enough creativity. Characters like Malenta, Kokodayo Cruz, and Bigo Teimas are still very solid, despite their annoyance. The story is rich, and each character has a likable personality, minus Beagle, and I just have a good time with this game, man. At one point, I had 3 accounts running at the same time. That's how good of a game this is. But now that I've got every single 6-star unit, including those on Nian's banner, Nian and Hawk, I've also E2'd most of them. I feel like I just play the game for the events and then I go back to Tale of Christoria. Because again, I'm a big simp for Tale stuff. That's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the game you were looking for. Whether you skipped through the ones you cared about or if you watched the entire thing, I'm very grateful. Again, not sponsored. I wish it was, because I need the money to get more currency in these gacha games. Desperately. So please turn off ad block when you watch my stuff, please. If you're looking for any of these games that I've mentioned, they're all on iOS or the Google Play Store. Minus Symphogear, because that one's donezo. So what about you? Is there a gacha game that you play that I am severely overlooking? Odds are I probably already played it, but in the off chance it just slipped under my radar, I'd like to know about it. And yeah, just leave it in the comment section down below. Give me a like, give me a sub, give me a bell, whatever you want. It's my birthday in 9 months, so count it as an early gift or whatever. I'm gonna go back play Christoria. Alright, see you, bye.
I've been through the hard times, I've been on the wrong side, I've been ashamed. So many memories, you know I'd like to change.